Tax season is here again.
Tax time!
How much?
Secret!
It's that time of the year to get your finances in order and settle your deals with the government. But don't worry, because in this video, I'll show you how to maximize your savings by taking full advantage of tax reliefs for the 2024 assessment year. But before I move on, I want to give a quick shout out to the awesome team over at Moomoo Malaysia for sponsoring today's video. With their regulated and licensed platform, all your investments are well tracked and you can even download your monthly statement from their app, like in this case for tax filing purposes. And since their platform supports fractional shares for US stocks and ETFs, you can now set automatic recurring investments via their regular savings plan RSP, which helps you to invest a fixed dollar amount of money at every set interval. Perfect to start practicing dollar cost averaging, DCA, a tried and trusted strategy in the world of investing. Starting at a minimum of $5 only, you have all the freedom to choose any frequency at which you like to invest, be it daily, weekly, or monthly. And you can also adjust, pause, or delete your RSP at any time, so your investments can literally be set once and done. No need to keep placing your trades every now and then. The fee structure for this is super cheap as well, only less than $1 if you buy less than one share. Anything more than that, they will charge an additional 0.03% commission fee. So it's still super cheap as compared to whatever that is being offered by other stockbrokers. Feel free to use my link down below and double it with my exclusive code Ziet11, that's Ziet11, to get amazing sign-up rewards while the campaign lasts. Alright, let's get back to the video. Now, in case you are not clear on how income tax works, I'll explain it in just a moment. Feel free to skip this part if you are already a seasoned taxpayer. As we know, income is the money you get from others, most likely your boss or your employer. But if you have multiple streams of incomes, are they all taxable? Well, not really. Let me explain. According to our tax authority, lhdn Malaysia, here you can see that gains or profit from employment are taxable. Basically, the earnings you are familiar with, such as your salary, bonus, OT payment, commission, or ESOS, employee share option scheme, are all taxable. By the time you are watching this video, you will most likely already receive your Borang EA, which covers all the income that you have received from your employers within the year. So those will be used as a basis to declare your income and any statutory contributions you have made, for which you will then file your tax now with Borang BE. But of course, there are also non-taxable items as well. Those necessities such as parking and meal allowance or medical benefits, etc. are not taxable since they are the payback from your boss for what you have spent during your work time. Basically, it's taxed at your company's level instead of you. And before you ask, how about your investment dividends, rental income, or business revenue? Yes, those are all taxable, including many others which I will show over here. And for business owners like a sole prop, LLP, or Sendirian Berhad owner, you will instead be filing Borang B, which covers both employment and business income. But that's a totally separate topic to be covered. It's best to ask your accountant because it can get quite complicated for business taxations. But if you want to know more about investment taxes, say if you invest in the US market from Malaysia, I've actually already made a video on it before, so feel free to check it out over there. Now, for years, I noticed people surrounding me will have doubts about when they have to start paying tax, since there's no one teaching us about this when we were in school or even universities. But no worries, it's complicated at first but will definitely get easier over time. According to lhdn, you just have to calculate whether you earn more than 37,333 ringgit annually or around 3,111 ringgit monthly. Yes, gross income. If you're above this number, then unfortunately, you will be taxed. Another way is to check your monthly salary payslip to see whether there is a PCB, Potongan Cukai Bulanan deduction, which is a monthly prepaid tax that your employer deduct for you. If yes, that means you are technically a taxpayer already. But this doesn't mean you need to pay the full tax amount even if you earn more than 37,333 ringgit and already had your PCB deductions. In fact, you might be refunded some of the taxes you paid based on the additional reliefs that you are gonna key in when you file your taxes. It goes by this formula: taxable income equals to total gross annual income minus tax exemptions and minus tax reliefs. Like I mentioned earlier, tax exemptions is income that you do not have to pay tax for, such as your parking allowance, medical and dental benefits, while tax reliefs is money that you can additionally deduct from your taxable income, such as education fees, sport equipment, insurance costs, and so many more, which is exactly what I will cover in this video. in detail. But just before that, here's a quick rundown on how you are being taxed. We will take the tax rate for year assessment 2024 to 2025 from PwC, one of the big 4 accounting firms in the world, as an example, since at the time of this shoot, lhdn hasn't released a 2024 tax rate yet. So let's say after all the deductions, your final taxable income is 40,000 ringgit. Based on this table, your first 35k will be charged with a 600 ringgit tax, while the remaining 5,000 ringgit will be charged based on the percentage on excess, which in this case is 6%. This means that you have to pay an extra 300 ringgit, bringing the total amount to 900 ringgit. Now, if you check the tax rates for year assessment 2023 on the lhdn website, it's the same thing where you just find out which income category you fall into. And you can also use online tax calculators out there to calculate how much you need to pay. Very simple. So now, I'm going to show you the 21 categories that can be claimed for tax relief. I've divided it into 4 main categories. Firstly, general, for yourself, spouse, children, or your parents. Second, parents, which is expenses for their care. Thirdly, your child, if you have kids. And lastly, for the disabled ones, for yourself or for a dependent with disabilities. Now, to save your time, you can just skip to the part that applies to you with the timestamps down below. Let's start with the first category. I call it the general expenses. The first one is individual and dependent relatives. Individual refers to yourself, and dependent relatives are those who rely on you for financial support, such as your child and your parents. So basically, you will automatically receive a relief of 9,000 ringgit. What you have to do is basically nothing, because it's already filled up and graded up in the lhdn Borang BE. Senang kan? Next, if your wife or your husband is at home and has no source of income, then a relief of up to 4,000 ringgit is applicable for you. But if he or she earns a gross income of more than 4,000 ringgit from sources outside of Malaysia, then you won't be eligible for this particular claim. In special cases, if you have a wife at home with no income and are also paying alimony to your former wife, you can still only claim up to 4,000 ringgit in tax relief. One thing to note here is that the alimony to your former wife needs to be under a formal agreement. If it's just a verbal agreement, then it's not claimable. At that time, God bless you, man. Now, coming to lifestyle expenses, where I'm sure you can find something to claim here easily. There's a relief of up to 2.5k for you. If you buy or subscribe hard copy or soft copy of books, journals, magazines, newspapers, or any other similar publications, either for yourself, your spouse, or child, all these can be claimed over here. Other than that, if you bought any computer, smartphones, or tablets for your personal use last year, it can also be claimed under here. As long as it's not for business purposes, then it's good to go. And if you didn't know, actually, your monthly internet subscription bill is claimable, but you have to make sure it's under your own name lah. Next, if you enjoy taking extra courses during your off days, here's some good news for you. This year, you can claim tax relief or course fees related to skill improvement and personal development under this category as well. Moving on. Now, you've got no more excuses to skip exercise or the gym, because now you can claim up to 1,000 ringgit in tax relief if you purchase sport equipment for any sports listed under the Sports Development Act 1997. There's around 50 sports here, so you are pretty much covered. And before you ask, I just want to let you know that this doesn't cover sportswear or gym attire. Even if it's expensive, like Lululemon, I know they are not covered. But you can still claim your rental or entrance fees at sports facilities like badminton courts or gym centers, sports competition registration fees such as your marathons, as well as membership fees and sports training. The best part is, this applies not only to you, but also to your spouse and your child. Next, let's dive into a more serious topic, your medical expenses. If you have spent a lot in this category, and I truly hope everything is okay on your end, make sure you don't miss out on these claims as well, because you can claim up to 10,000 ringgit for medical expenses for yourself, your spouse, and your children. Let's break it down one by one. If you or your dependents have received treatment for serious diseases such as cancer, renal failure, heart attack, or any other conditions listed over here, you can claim these expenses. The same applies to fertility treatment, whether for yourself or your spouse. Just remember to keep your medical bills and certification from your doctor in case lhdn requests for the proof. They have also enabled you to claim a maximum of 1,000 ringgit for just vaccination. And this year, there's even better news. You can claim up to 1,000 ringgit for dental examinations and treatment. Now, that's a new one. Secondly, if you, your spouse, or your child undergo a medical examination, mental health examination, or just consultation, or a COVID-19 detection test, whether at a hospital, clinic, or using a self-test kit, you can claim up to 1,000 ringgit just for this. And the last part for medical expenses is if you have a child aged 18 or below who is intellectually disabled and requires assessment and treatment as shown over here, you can claim up to 4,000 ringgit. Just make sure that the assessment or treatment is conducted in Malaysia to be eligible for this claim. Now, let's move on to life insurance and EPF, the place where your salary contributes to every single month. There's a cap of 7,000 ringgit that you can claim here, which includes 4K for EPF and 3K for life insurance or takafu. For the EPF part, it can be either a mandatory deduction from your salary or a voluntary contribution. So, if you're not working a permanent job but still contribute to your EPF account, perhaps say with your part-time job salary, you can definitely claim this one. As for life insurance, you can find your payment details in your insurance statement, and the total annual premium is your claimable amount. But I know not everyone buys life insurance plans lah. However, this doesn't mean the 3K is totally gone, because you can still claim it by voluntarily contributing to your EPF. Not bad, right? And since we've mentioned EPF, let's talk about another contribution to SOCSO. You can claim up to 350 ringgit in tax relief if you contribute to SOCSO. Technically, this should also cover your contributions to the EIS, Employment Insurance System. I know it's not a big amount, but it's better than nothing lah, right? Anyways, moving on. If you contributed to a Deferred Annuity or Private Retirement Scheme, PRS, that is approved by the Securities Commission Malaysia, you can claim up to 3,000 ringgit for it. If you are not sure what a deferred annuity is, it is actually a life insurance plan offered by insurance companies. You can either make regular payments or put your lump sum money into it, and then they'll put your money into investments, so you will technically get a guaranteed regular payout when you retire, normally at age 55 or later. If you don't have deferred annuity, then PRS is also claimable for this part. Just another short tutorial in case you have not heard about it. Basically, it is an investment plan offered by asset management companies, which works rather similar to the typical unit trust investment. When you contribute, your money is split into two accounts, sub-account A 70% and sub-account B 30%. Just so you know, there are currently 9 PRS providers over here that is certified in Malaysia. Personally, I'm not interested in PRS because its historical returns are quite low, and there's a risk of losing out to inflation. Plus, your money is pretty much locked in for life. Now, let's look at education and medical insurance. Whether it's for yourself, your spouse, or your child, you can claim up to 3,000 ringgit. To know how much you can claim for this one, you can simply refer to your annual insurance statement. But nowadays, I know many insurance companies offer medical coverage as a rider, an optional add-on to a life insurance policy. So to make it clear, the medical coverage can be either a standalone policy or a rider attached to a life insurance policy. If it's a rider, then only the rider premium can be claimed. Next, if you're pursuing a higher education besides working, like your undergraduate or postgraduate program, you can claim a relief of up to 7,000 ringgit for your study. This is claimable if you are pursuing, say, a diploma, bachelor's degree, or just any other professional certification under these fields. Not only that, you can claim this too if you went for a master's or doctorate degree in any field, as long as the institution is recognized by the Malaysian government or approved by the Minister of Finance. You can check through the list of these institutions at the official portal of the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia, MOHE. Also, if you take any courses for upskilling or self-enhancement that is officially recognized as well, you can also claim up to 2,000 ringgit. Next, if you are an electric vehicle EV driver, this is worth noting for you because you can claim up to 2.5k for expenses on the electric vehicle charging facility. This includes your payment of installation, rental, purchase or hire purchase, and subscription for use of it. So if you're eligible, don't miss out on this relief as well. Now, after covering the general expenses, let's move on to the reliefs that you can claim for a parent's expenses, such as medical treatment, carers, and dental treatment. They all can be claimed up to 8,000 ringgit. But the dental treatment only covers things like tooth extraction, filling, scaling, and cleaning. Those cosmetic treatment expenses like teeth restoration and replacement, including crowning, root canal, and dentures, are not eligible for claims. If you notice, this year they have introduced a new relief of up to 1,000 ringgit for parents' medical examinations. So do check out the details on their website if you have done this for your parents. Now, moving on to the next category, the money you spend on your child. So the amount of relief you can claim for a child depends on their age. Let's say if your child is under 18 years old, you can claim 2,000 ringgit per child. As usual, if you have already claimed it, then your spouse cannot claim it again. No double claim, huh? But if your child is already above 18 years old, it's even better as you can claim up to 8,000 ringgit as long as they are unmarried and studying at a university, college or other similar education level in Malaysia, but excluding those matrics and pre-U courses. But what if your child is studying abroad? No worries, as long as they are pursuing a master's degree or doctorate, you can still claim this relief. Next, if you're a mom with a child aged 2 years or below, you can claim up to 1,000 ringgit for breastfeeding equipment. However, this relief can only be claimed once every 2 years. And just to let you know, if you are filing a joint assessment with your spouse, this relief can only be claimed under the wife's name. So, if the assessment is fall under your husband's name, this claim won't be eligible. Moving on, I know many of you are busy with work and may send your child to childcare, so this is another relief that you can claim as well. If you send your child aged 6 years or below in a childcare center or kindergarten, you can claim up to 3,000 ringgit. But no matter how many children you send to these centers, the maximum amount is still capped at 3,000 ringgit only. Once again, only one parent can claim this relief, so do remind your spouse to avoid double claiming. Next, you can also claim for the net deposit you made into the SSPN account, which is basically a savings scheme for your children's higher education, for up to 8,000 ringgit. The word net deposit means the total money you deposit minus the total withdrawal that you make. That amount is then what you can claim for relief. Now, we have come to the last category, tax relief for supporting disabled individuals. Whether it's you, sorry to hear that, or your family member, these are where you can claim to reduce your financial burden. If you purchase any necessary basic supporting equipment, whether for yourself or your family, you can claim up to 6,000 ringgit. You just have to make sure the disabled individual is registered with the JKM, Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat Malaysia. The equipment can be claimed including hemodialysis machine, wheelchair, artificial leg and hearing aids, but excludes spectacles and optical lenses. Next, if you are a disabled person registered with JKM, you can claim an extra deduction of 6,000 ringgit for your tax relief. But if it's your husband or wife that are disabled, then a total of 5,000 ringgit can be claimed on your side. If the disabled person is your child and they are still unmarried, then you can claim 6,000 ringgit for deduction as well. Also, another 8,000 ringgit can be claimed if they are pursuing a full-time education, like say diploma and above at universities or colleges in Malaysia. Whew, that's about it. And just one last reminder for you, make sure you hold on to all your receipts for purchases, treatments and just any necessary certifications like disabled certification for at least 7 years. You'll never know when the taxman will invite you for kopi. Whether that happens or not, don't forget to check out Moomoo Malaysia in the link down below, the one-stop solution for all your investing needs. Quickly deposit with my exclusive code Ziet11 to get amazing sign-up rewards while the campaign lasts. Thanks for watching.